There has been a very big amount of excitement at John Banks Dacia as our latest model into the ever-growing Dacia lineup has arrived. This model builds on the latest success of the next generation Dacia Duster, going big on style, big on space, but not big on price tag. Of course, it's the Dacia Bigster. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about this latest model. Hi guys, my name's Tish and welcome back to the John Banks Review YouTube channel. This week at both John Banks Ipswich and John Banks Cambridge, we've had the Dacia Bigster arrive and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. In today's video, I'll tell you everything that you need to know, including powertrains, specification, space on offer and equipment. And if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But if you wanted to get your hands on a Dacia Bigster, then you can do that at both Ipswich and Cambridge. I'll pop all the details down below on how you can book in for your very own test drive. So first of all, I think we'll start with the different specifications that you can get for the latest Dacia Bigster. The lineup is simple. 3 specifications and 3 engines. Starting from £25,215, the Expression trim kicks off the lineup with 17-inch alloys, a multi-view camera, automatic lights and wipers and automatic dual-zone climate control, amongst a whole host of safety features, and an interior trimmed in a black fabric and denim effect. The Journey trim starts from just over £1,000 more at £26,465, and that adds premium touches like the larger 19-inch wheels, electric boot, extra tinted windows, heated front seats and a steering wheel, and interior features like silver textured interior. The most expensive model is the Extreme, which is priced at £26,715. It's just £250 more than the Journey. This model features touches of bronze on the door mirrors and grille. It sits on 18-inch wheels, features modular roof rails and a panoramic sunroof as standard. However, it doesn't get the electric boot, but its interior is trimmed in dark green suede effect seats and carbon effect bolstering. The Bigster is underpinned by the familiar CMF-B platform. This is shared across the whole of the Renault group, used by things like the Duster, but even the smaller Renault Clio. Buyers have the choice of 3 different hybrid engines, mild and strong. So starting with the mild hybrid engine, this is the entry-level TCE 140 version, and it pairs together a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid setup and a 6-speed manual gearbox. It's only available as a manual. It produces 138 brake horsepower paired together with 230 pound-feet of torque. And whilst the mild hybrid system doesn't support pure electric driving, it does assist during acceleration and engine restarts, and this helps give it a little bit of a boost, improve efficiency and also just make the drive a little smoother. Energy is also recovered through regenerative braking and stored in a small 0.8 kilowatt-hour battery regardless of the engine type. Next up is the TCE 130 4x4. So this uses the same mild hybrid engine, but it's slightly detuned to 128 brake horsepower, but it does maintain the same 230 pound-feet of torque. Crucially, of course, this version adds 4-wheel drive and 5 selectable driving modes. There's Auto, Eco, off-road, mud and sand and snow, and this makes it more versatile in tough conditions. Like the TCE 140, it also only uses a manual gearbox, and having already tested this in the Duster, I'm pretty confident that the Bigster will match other smaller siblings with their off-road capabilities and hold its own against rivals. It's not the most refined off-road driving, but it's still pretty capable. The version that I'm driving today is the range-topping Hybrid 155, and this actually debuts a new full hybrid system for the Renault Group. It combines a 1.8 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine with a 6-speed multi-module automatic gearbox. There's a main electric motor, a separate starter generator and a 1.4 kilowatt-hour battery, and together this system produces a total of 153 brake horsepower, with the electric motor alone delivering up to 205 pound-feet of torque. And this setup offers a more refined power delivery and the ability to drive for short distances in electric power alone. This gives the Bigster an extra edge in urban efficiency and low-speed driving. So regardless of which of the three specifications you opt for, you're getting a very smart looking vehicle. The Bigster takes the basis of the Duster and it's just grown up a little bit. It's slightly more stylish and a little bit more premium in its design. Of course, it's also bigger, and we'll talk about space in a moment. But the way they've made it look a tiny bit more premium is by taking away some of the bumper design. So on the Duster, it's very rugged in its styling and that plastic bumper comes up quite high. But with the Bigster, you've got a bit more paintwork which comes down a little bit lower, giving it a slightly more premium touch. And talking about paint finish, this model that I have here is finished in the limited colour to the Bigster. You can't get this on the rest of the Dacia range and it looks fantastic, doesn't it? Especially with this specification where you've got the black bumpers but also the contrasting chrome elements and the contrasting chrome and gloss black wheels. It looks super smart. Of course, this latest generation vehicle also gets the new design details which have become so iconic to Dacia. For instance, you have the white logo around the front and that blends together with these white reflective lines which then blend into the Y-shaped white daytime running lights. They've also moved where these little spotlights are on the Bigster, so they're a little bit higher than you'll find them in the Duster. And something to highlight on my particular model is a sunroof. For the first time on a Dacia, we have an opening sunroof. So that certainly adds to those premium elements which I was talking about. But just like every Dacia, they're very, very practical. And with that, you get lots of practical elements like plenty of plastic around the bumpers and wheel arches. And you'll find it finished in this starkle colour. And if you look closely, there's just a fleck of white throughout these. Now this is because it's recycled material, so it's cheaper to build and cheaper to replace as well. And they've put it in areas which you may come in contact with cars in car parks or have little bumps, so it should be cheaper to repair, which is always good news in my eyes. But in terms of design, it does look very sharp and striking. And I especially like that on this particular model, you have the contrasting grey door mirrors. They're a little bit different from other versions out there, and they also blend together with the interior. And just like the exterior, the interior of the Bigster is also slightly elevated over the Duster. It still has lots of hard-wearing plastics used within the cabin, but I really like the way that Dacia have used different colours and textures just to brighten things up and make it a bit more interesting. You have this textured silver across the dashboard, which also blends together on the doors in that Y shape, just like the daytime running lights. And you'll also find these silver air vents, which are also in the shape of those Ys. One of my favourite things about this cabin have got to be these seats. They feel super well bolstered and very hard wearing. You have this mix of almost a leather and Alcantara down the centre, which should wipe clean, so it'll be easy to keep it neat and tidy. But then you have this grey knitted material just at the top with the Dacia logo. You have the same material down the centre console, and inside of here you'll find tons of storage. So you've got enough storage inside the armrest to pop a bottle of water, and that should stay nice and cold because the air conditioning actually keeps that cool inside there. I love the fact that in this car they've covered the cup holders or this central section using this scroller. It just keeps things looking neat and tidy. These cup holders are not exactly the best to use, but you can actually remove them, making the storage area completely customizable. You have your gear selector in the centre as well as your electronic parking brake, and in this particular car I've got some wireless charging, some USB-C charge ports and a 12-volt charger. Every version of the Dacia Bigster gets a digital instrument cluster and a central touchscreen. This touchscreen is not quite as good as that you'll find in the Renault products, but it's really clear and easy to use with plenty of functions so you can keep an eye on how economically you're driving. You do have some shortcuts along the bottom here for your heated seats and heated steering wheel, and you do also have the temperatures displayed. But the great news, if you don't like using the touchscreen, is down here we still have some physical controls for your climate control. And everything is really easy to use. You get physical buttons on the steering wheel for using things like your climate control and controlling what is displayed on the dashboard. But also you have your volume, which is just tucked behind the steering wheel, so it doesn't make it too messy on the wheel. If your passenger wanted to turn up or down your infotainment system, then they can use the buttons located on top of the touchscreen. It also feels extremely spacious. Just like I said, it is slightly bigger than the Dacia Duster, and it certainly feels that way. You have plenty of storage in the door cards and a decent sized glove box as well. But what's making this cabin feel extremely premium is that panoramic sunroof, especially with the ability to open it in a Dacia for the first time. It just gives it an elevation over the rest of the Dacia range, and worth it for the step up in price. So what about rear seat passengers? How comfortable are they? This Bigster is only available as a 5-seater, so there's no 7-seater option. If you need a 7-seater, then you'll still need to look at the Jogger. And the main reason for doing that is they have got the added space, but if you had rear passengers as well, it would add to the weight and they'd need to spend a bit more money mechanically making this car solid enough for 7 passengers. And then the price would be even higher. So it makes sense to keep the price low and stick to 5 seats. And I think it's perfect for families of 5. Inside here, I am super comfortable. I've got loads of space, loads of legroom. I've got lots of headroom as well. And it certainly doesn't feel like I'm in the back of a Dacia, especially with that grey headlining. And you've also got these little spotlights. It really makes me feel like I'm in a much more expensive car. Once again, I'm reminded that this is a Dacia because there's lots of plastic on the doors and also on this centre console, but I really can't see it being a problem. You've also got air vents in the back here and 2 more USB-C chargers. And despite this car being a combustion vehicle or hybrid, it still has a really low floor. And that means if you've got long legs, you should be perfectly happy in the back of the Dacia Bigster. There's plenty of space between these middle seats as well. Even if I'm to slide across to that middle bench, the bench is completely flat, so I could happily sit in this middle seat with adults either side and still be super comfortable. You'll find 2 ISOFIX fitments which are tucked behind little zips, and if we pull down this centre armrest, then you'll find 2 cup holders and also 2 sections just to pop your mobile phone. It's nothing particularly fancy, but I do applaud them for doing this. So what about the boot space? The Bigster offers generous boot space whatever powertrain you go for. The 2-wheel drive mild hybrid offers 677 litres, while the 4-wheel drive model offers 629 litres, and the full hybrid has 612. The boot is larger than many of its rivals in the C SUV segment, including the Nissan Qashqai, Kia Sportage and Skoda Karoq. A split boot floor and retractable parcel shelf further adds to practicality. It's going to be apparent pretty quickly that the Bigster isn't built for speed and agility. If you take a corner a little bit too fast, it's going to lean, but then it is quite a tall vehicle. This car has been built for comfort. Overall, it's extremely comfortable for longer journeys, and despite having cheaper materials on the inside, there's no rattles around the cabin and these seats feel nice and comfortable. In a world where new cars are getting ever more complicated and ever more expensive, the Dacia Bigster is a breath of fresh air. It offers Dacia customers a larger package over the very successful Dacia Duster, still having the option of having 4-wheel drive and all of the lovely gadgets and gizmos. It's so nice to now see a panoramic opening sunroof on a Dacia, and I think this is going to appeal to a really wide audience. Don't forget, if you wanted to come and see the Bigster for yourself, then you can now do that at Cambridge or Ipswich. I'll pop all the details in the description box down below. But let me know, what do you think of the Dacia Bigster? Has it lived up to your expectations? Let me know down below in the comments. I really hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, see you later.